Expect anything different? Racco, you've got Tiger for 18 holes tomorrow.
Welcome to Little Birdie's US Open Golf Major Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by MG in studio.
Thanks, Nico. Glad to be here. We've got an all-star cast today. Should be good.
It's going to be great stuff. We've got Mike Dogga Caridi, fresh off tipping up Cameron Triangle at 100-1 to be first round leader, only for Cam to just choke it up. And we've got Big Daddy Adam Fraser. You guys will know all about him. He's been with us for 2 seasons of Little Birdie. He's one of our regulars. And Big Daddy found Brooks Koepka at $51, only to be bloused by Phil Mickelson. How are you, Fraser?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I was a little bit comatose after that, but ready to go again.
Punters have to be resilient, and there's no one more resilient than our Toprope Tedeschi, fresh off a Garrick Higo fill-up. And Toprope was is a steadier for me. I was all over Brooks, thanks to Big Daddy early, and I turned to Toprope and said, mate, what do I do coming into the last round here at the PGA Championship? And he said, mate, you have to be on Phil. You need to cover up there. And so I did, and it was an easy watch coming into that final round. But it's going to be a great show today. We'll try and keep it short, sharp, and sweet here. There's been a bit of a pattern for US Golf Open winners, and it's really hard to find winners outside the market. So it may be a tournament for shorties, and these guys may just discredit that statement, and they may go wide of the favourites here. But I'm not sure how they're going to play it, but it's down at Torrey Pines, which is home of Xander and Phil. It'd be amazing to see Lefty bob up again at 80-1. He's a Little Birdie Hall of Famer. We love Lefty. And it'd be great to see the action all weekend. It ties in with Royal Ascot. I tell you what, it's just been a fantastic month of sport in June. So let's start betting here. I think the defending champion is Bryson DeChambeau. And take us through the top of the market. Odds courtesy of Top Sport, please, MG.
Yeah, we've got John Rahm, the COVID victim from a couple of weeks ago.
Performance enhancing,
yeah. He's been obviously well backed. He is a clear favourite at $10 with Top Sports. DeChambeau, the defending champ, as you said, $18. He's on the same line as Dustin Johnson. Then we've got two-time winner Koepka at $19. Jordan Spieth at $21. He's on the same line with Rory McIlroy and your tip, Big Xander Schauffele. And then on the next line, we've got Morikawa at $23 with JT, Justin Thomas. And then we're out to both Cantlay and Patrick Reed at $26. So we've got all Americans bar 2 on the leaderboard.
We might go to Dogga first. He's a big wind man. He knows all about how the wind's going to blow. And can you give us a little bit of a course profile for Torrey Pines?
Yep, sure. Down in La Jolla, down in San Diego. So very, very long course. They play there every year on the PGA Tour, so it's home of the Farmers Insurance. That's played in Jan, so for them that's going to be pretty different than we expected to play this week. With it being pretty sunny, it's going to play hard and fast. So in January, you're getting the ball not running out as much, whereas this week you expect it to be hitting the fairways and jumping, kicking on. And as you'd expect for a US Open, they're going to have the rough up. They're going to have the greens rolling pretty slick. The expectation from the superintendent there is going to be from the rough's going to be a bit choppy, so they're expecting the lies to be a bit up and down. So it sounds like they might be getting a few lottery lies. And then for the greens, it's power. So you're going to be putting on something that's going to be pretty flat and a bit like a billiard table early, and then it's sort of going to deteriorate a little bit throughout the day. So, with spike marks and everything else being able to be tapped down, there's not much you can do to sort of make it any better than what you're going to see. So it could be interesting to see how they go.
Big Daddy, you found Morikawa, who should be suited to this sort of grass setup. He was good, I think it was at Harding Park last year. And there's been some talk, Big Daddy, that a lot of these Californian golfers have got a good edge. Would you agree with that phrase?
Absolutely. Yeah, so the grass they're playing on is a Kikuyu mixed with rye. And the guys that generally play on that a lot are very familiar with that. So they can tend to do quite well. So we saw that Cameron Champ and Morikawa were in contention last year and on the West Coast for the PGA Championship, and Morikawa went on to win. I actually really like Morikawa for this event, not just because of that. I really like him, one, because he's a Californian. He knows the area very well. But it's going to be very important this week to hit a lot of fairways. And Kikuyu is a grass that when you get in the rough, it doesn't have to be overly long to cause absolute nightmares. It's a very sticky grass, and it can catch the club. It's very hard to keep a square club face through impact through that sort of grass in the rough. So the rough is somewhere where you do not want to be this week. And Morikawa is 12th in driving accuracy. So it's vital that you hit a lot of fairways this week. And the way he's been playing, I mean, he's a winner this season. He was top 10 at the PGA Championship. He's got one of the hottest stroke averages on tour. He's in great form. He was second last week. He just ticks so many boxes for me this week around a course that he knows very, very well. And he's familiar with the grass as well. So he's a big plus this week for me.
What about you, Toprope Tedeschi? Can you forgive him? I think you were on him last start when he choked. Or did he choke?
he did choke, but I'm actually going with another Californian who beat him that day, Patrick Cantlay, who I think is primed to really do well here. US Open of late has very much become a young player's game. You kind of, I think over the last decade, everyone's been 32 and under who've won. You've kind of seen Americans kind of dominate the event. I think you do have to be strong off the tee, whether that is, a bomber with distance who'll be hitting out of rough but a lot closer, like a Bryson, or someone who can kind of mix it up like Cantlay. So I think his profile is really good. He's won two, he hasn't won a major, but he's won two pretty big regular PGA Tour events this year, and the Memorial and the Zozo. Ranks 15th in stroke stand off the tee. I think another key here is you have to be good around the greens. You are going to miss greens. You've got to be good around them. He ranks second in scrambling and fourth in bogey avoidance. So they're two kind of key areas that I'll be looking at. So Patrick Cantlay for me, I think, is another Californian that I think is going to perform very, very well this week.
And then what about your lay? So Cantlay's your tip, and then who are you potting in the top of the market?
I've got to pot Jordan Spieth. I still can't believe his price at this. He's probably got a little bit more wayward since he had that hot run of form there for a little bit. I can't believe he's $20. I think he's in the market $22. I think he should be around the 50 to 1 quote. He is not that. I don't think he's going to be that well suited to Torrey. I don't think the length's going to do any favours there. I think he's going to find himself in a lot of bad spots. I just can't see him putting together 4 rounds at the price. I'd be laying Jordan.
And what about you, Dogga? I think you were pretty savage on Dustin Johnson last time. You said he couldn't win, and it was a good lay there. But who's your best back, and then who's your best lay, Dogga?
Yeah, I'm with Toprope. I've got Cantlay on top this week. Pretty similar thought process. I think scrambling is key at the US Open. He's ranked number 2. He ranks top 15 in off the tee and in his ball striking stats. I think he hits it certainly long enough. I put him on top for me. And I actually think he should have been. I think his price is great. I think I would have expected him to be shorter, and especially after he won last start, even though John Rahm gifted it. But I still thought he'd be a lot shorter. But he seems to have blown a little bit this week in the market. And for the lay, I'm going to go with Justin Thomas. He's only had one top 10 since he won the Players, and he's just not going as well as I'd like to see. His all-round stats that sort of line up here, just around the mark, but someone right up towards the pointy, and he's the one that I'd probably be looking to put a line through.
And I'm just having a look at Big Daddy's golf ratings, and he's got Justin Thomas well out of his market predictions here. They're well out of the top 10, so I think you could be on the right track there, Dogga. So Big Daddy, is Morikawa, I guess, your top tip out of the top of the market at this stage?
Yes, Morikawa is of the top players. He would be one of my overs that I definitely want to be backing and having something on. In terms of a lay, I don't fancy Rory for top 5. He's 173rd in fairways hit. He's form, even though he won recently, his form's very, very up and down, very inconsistent. DJ's not there as well. He did kind of show form recently, but I mean, Rory's just not, for me, he's not there. So they've still got him short in the market, and I think he's a value lay and especially being fairly wild off the tee.
It was an interesting one. Abraham Answer roared home in the PGA Championship, and I noticed he's very short odds on your model. You give him another chance for this major, Big Daddy?
I do. I give Louis Oosthuizen a chance. Abraham's a little small, sort of specky, sort of roughy bet. And there's a few of those this week. I think there's some value. The golf tournament's got 156 players, so there's nothing wrong pre-tournament. If you want to, having quite a few bets. Like with a horse race, you might have 10 runners, so you might have 1 or 2 bets in a race. But golf tournament, you can have a lot more because there's 156 players and you can get better odds. And there's quite a few of those this week with sort of the Abraham Answer, the Will Zalatoris, Corey Connors, Jochen Neiman, those sort of players that are, in my opinion, are sort of well over the odds. But, Louis Oosthuizen played very, very well at the last major. Just recently, the Phil one. He's had 2 seconds in the last 4 starts and an 8th. He finished 18th at the Memorial last week. He's playing very well. He can handle major pressure. And he's fairly strong off the tee, and he's grown up playing on this sort of grass in South Africa, the Kaiku grass, which is very common over there, and it's also common in Australia. But Louis is a little specky for me at the odds. He comes in as an over. Victor Hovland, he's had 2 top 3s in the last 4 starts. He's fairly strong in accuracy off the tee, which is important. So they're kind of the players. Webb Simpson just darts it off the tee. He's right up there. I mean, he's one of the straightest hitters on tour. But he's very consistent, but he hasn't been in scintillating form. He's just one of those players that's sort of thereabouts every week. He's not really on fire, but he's consistent. So he might be a play for sort of a top 20 or something like that. But Answer's very strong off the tee. You've got to consider him. Has he contended majors yet? Not really, no. We haven't seen it. So he's hard to sort of launch at the odds, but you could have a small specky on him for sure.
What about you, Toprope Tedeschi? You're famous for your 300 and 500 to 1 bolters. Who's your best of the roughies?
I completely agree with Webb. I think the harder the conditions get, the better he's suited. I agree with everything Fraser said, that you want. He is not someone who's going to kind of come out and blast away with the tournament. But if kind of 2 under 300 is a winning score, he's not going to throw away his tournament with a 75 either. He leads the tour in scrambling, he leads the tour in bogey avoidance, so he's right up there for me. A couple others I like at decent prices. I like Tyrrell Hatton. I know he just got married, so there's been a bit of a distraction there. Probably form dipped off a little bit, but very good around the green, very good ball striker. So I fancy he will do pretty well here. And a couple at triple figure odds. Not the South African, Christian Bezuidenhout. I think you get $126 at him at Top Sport. Ranks 2nd on the European Tour in scrambling, 8th in strokes gained approach, and 6th on the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting. So he has the short game there and the ball striking to compete here. And like Fraser said, grew up on the Kikuyu, common Kikuyu grass that's in South Africa. And one at a big price, Robert McIntyre. Look, he's pretty wild, but he's played 5 majors. He's finished top 12 in 2 of them. European Tour, 4th in scrambling, 7th in greens in reg, 8th in strokes and off the tee. That's the kind of profile I kind of want to see for an event like this. He's inconsistent, but you're getting a good price on him, so we'd be more than happy to back him to kind of top 20, top 40.
Well over 200 to 1, the Scot in that market. What about you, Dogga? We'll go best roughie, and then we might have a look at the first round leader market.
Yeah, for sure. So mid-range, the 2 that I really like are Scheffler and Casey. Probably in particular Scheffler. Probably a bit of could be a bit of a comeback from him. Last year he was going pretty hot into the US Open and had to withdraw with COVID. So he's come back this year and he's obviously got a start. He's finished 19th in DJ's Masters, 18th in Hiddeki's, and then 8th at the PGA, 3rd at the Memorial. A lot of good stats there that stack up pretty well around that $46. And best roughie for me, a bit of a tricky one. I'm going with Ryan Palmer. He's 176 to 1. He's 50th in scrambling, around 50th, and 34th in strokes gained off the tee. He's had 2 second-place finishes at Torrey Pines. I know that the course will play a little bit differently. Just listening to the course superintendent this week talk, I think Jason Day's win in 2018 is what they're going to see a little bit something similar to that. He was second that year, so he's someone at a pretty big price that I expect to go pretty well.
And then what about the first round leader? This is where you sort of specialise, Dogga. This is your little sweet spot here.
Yep. So it's a lottery, which is always good for the punters. For me, look, realistically, I'm looking at a couple of different things. I'll look at the last 3 years, how they've gone in their round one averages, round one scoring averages. Then I sort of extrapolate that out and then have a look at who's playing in the morning. I'm pretty keen on someone who's going to get on the power early and get the best of the greens. So for me, my number one pick is Jason Kokrak. He's around 60 to 1. And then after that, I'm going to probably stick more with the guys that are playing a bit later, but have just shown that over time they're just super starters. So that'd be John Rahm and Patrick Reed.
Okay.
They're both shorter in the market. Rahm's favoured around $19 and then Reed at $34.
And Kokrak's been in scintillating form as well recently. He was challenging in the USPGA, and I think he come out and won since then. So definitely around the mark. Have you had a chance to have a look at the tournament head-to-heads? And I don't want to give away too much of your set, Big Daddy. You can subscribe for, I think, what is it, $11 or what is it, $22 for the major, or you can get both of them including the British Open for $35. So it's $22 if you want Big Daddy's action. That's the pre-tournament model, and then all his head-to-head action. But is there one little matchup for the punters at home, Big Daddy, that you're keen on here? Have you found a little chink in someone?
Yeah, and just touching on that, the sort of best roughies, just a guy just to consider just for a small play is a guy called Sam Burns. Sam Burns has had a win, a second, and a fourth in his last 4 starts. So at 110 to 1, I think would be crazy not just to throw something real small. And I mean, he looks like he's a guy just on current form that could go and sneak up and get in contention. I think he's a little bit wayward off the tee, but the form he's been in recently, he seems big odds. In the match bets, I think Rahm will beat Rory. I think Rory's out of form, so I'm pretty keen there. And I think Louis Oosthuizen will beat Matt Fitzpatrick in a head-to-head. I'm quite keen on those 2 match bets.
It's a good little value there. All right, any other Marcus?
Yeah, I was just going to ask the boys, moving on to the top Aussies, how do you see the local lads going? I see we're a fair way down the market with Smith and Scott. Any top Aussies or any of them that you think will give a good each-way sight?
Mark Leishman, for me, is not playing good enough. He does tend to play okay in the bigger tournaments like the majors. He can pop up. Cam Smith, to me, looks like he's the right price. He's fairly close to the correct odds. I can't back him because he's the right odds, but there's no reason why he couldn't sort of pop up and have a decent tournament.
Toprope?
Yeah, don't mind Mark Leishman for the top Aussie, but not a lot of interest in the one. He's got a great record in majors and plays the US Open pretty well. Former winner in the Farmers Insurance here, so slightly in that way. At a price, I think Matt Jones can pop up as well. He's playing pretty good golf at the moment. Had a win earlier in the year, so probably Mark Leishman top selection there without a lot of confidence. Matt Jones probably the value.
Dogga?
Yeah, Toprope's been certainly looking at my notes, so I'd probably cross all 3 tips here. I think Cam Smith should take it. I think Leish has got great form at Tory, but if I was going to have a bet, I'd probably have a little spec bet on Matty Jones.
What about any of the other peripheral markets? Is there any chinks in any of the top national markets or top 20s? Have you found a blatant error? It sounds like you're all against McIlroy. But is there anything else that just sort of sticks out?
Is that for me, Skip? Did you say?
Yeah, you or Dogga might have sniffed out a bit of a chink in another market. Take it away, Fraser.
I like to keep backing if the odds are correct. I like to keep following Webb Simpson for top 20s because he just has so many of them. He seems valued around sort of that $2.70 to $3 mark for a top 20. If you go back and have a look through all his stats for the year and all his performances, it's amazing how many times he seems to pop up and have a top 20 finish. And considering this tournament should really suit him. if there's ever going to be a tournament that, suits a player, Webb Simpson, this should be right up his sort of list. So, yeah.
$2.63 at Top Sport, and I've just I've a little sneaky $200 on Xander to finish top 5 at $4.50, which could be a good bet there, Dogga.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm probably going to lean a little bit to Big Daddy's tip earlier on for someone for top 10, top 20. That's Abe Answer. I think $6 for top 10 and $2.40 for top 20. The only thing going against him is his length off the tee. He's ranked 150th, 55th in driving distance, but other than that, everything else stacks up. So with a bit of run in the fairways, that one looks like good odds for me. God,
it's a boring show. Everyone just agreeing with each other.
Well, makes it easy to bet.
Just an absolute chips in job.
Yeah, no, it's good.
There'll be plenty of opportunities to bet. Make sure you check out the Little Birdie shop and get Big Daddy stuff. We'll reduce the price as the tournament sort of wears on. So even if you miss the off, tune in for rounds 2, 3, and 4. And Big Daddy does a lot of his tournament betting after they've jumped. So there'll be a little bit of action early in the tournament bets, and there'll be lots of action on all the head-to-head matchups, the top 20. So he plays around the peripheral markets early, and then as the tournament goes on, the picture becomes clearer and it's easier for him to trade and play in runs. So make sure you check out Big Daddy's stuff in the Little Birdie shop. I've got there eventually. But big thanks to you, Toprope. I'm sure you'll be betting in the ladies' golf as well. Have you got a sly tip in the women's golf out wide for us?
Question we haven't got that far yet this week, Steve.
Too much going on. Big Daddy, good luck over the weekend, and a big thanks to you too, Dogga, on your second one in. And we just got to get you in the studio, Dogga.
You just let me know and I'll be there.
He's upgraded the set. He must be absolutely killing him. But that's enough for us. You got a mug tip for us, Marcos?
No, I don't.
Follow the balls in?
Yeah, just going to stick with the strength. I've taken a lot of notes during the show, and we'll work them out, and they'll go into a few multis during the week for sure.
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely bet against Spieth and Rory. There's a bit of a tip for Xander, Schauffele. Abraham Answer is Spec. Webb Simpson, the boys have all sort of lined up there. Patrick Cantlay is another one, and Morikawa should be suited by the conditions. That's all from us, and we'll catch you next major.